All right, and it is 1:35, so let's go ahead and get started. We can continue to let folks in as they trickle in, but in the interest of time and everybody else showing up here, I'm very happy to introduce Stacy. She can give her full introduction, but she will be leading our networking session today, and we are very grateful and excited to have her as a part of our conference today. So without further ado, Stacy.
Thanks, Dylan. I'm happy to be here. Well, welcome everyone. I'm really excited to be here today to talk about networking and finding connections in the virtual world. Did you want to get to the next slide, Dylan? So to quickly go through our agenda for today, we're going to start by going through some of the goals for the session. We're also going to do a little icebreaker activity because what's a network event without getting to know your peers? We're also going to talk about, professional small talk versus a professional pitch. We're going to get to have some practice building your professional pitch and then getting back into our breakout sessions later on and practicing your pitch with your peers. And in the end, there'll be some time for feedback as well. Next slide. All right, so a little bit about myself. My name is Stacy Caceres, and I am the Talent Acquisition Manager for Enterprise Holdings. Enterprise Holdings is the parent company of Enterprise Rent-A-Car, National Car Rental, and Alamo Rent-A-Car. So for my role, I'm responsible for doing all the hiring and onboarding. My territory is comprised. There's 4 recruiters here in the the Bay Area, and my territory is comprised of the South Bay, along with Monterey and Santa Cruz County. I've been with Enterprise for about 15 years now. I started with the company shortly after graduating from San Francisco State. I started in our management training program, moved up fairly quickly, became an assistant manager at 10 months. And got promoted to branch manager, was able to manage a multi-million-dollar operation within hitting 2 years of the company. I did manage several stores along the peninsula in San Francisco and did that for about 7 years. And then a little over 5.5 years ago, I got promoted into talent acquisition. I love what I do now, helping launch careers and watching, my hires advance within the company and get, grow personally and professionally. That's super rewarding. On a personal note, next slide. Born and raised here in the Bay Area, live out in the East Bay now. I am married with 3 wonderful children. My oldest son is 9. My middle son is 3, and my youngest finally got a girl. She just turned 1 in July. So my hands are pretty full these days, trying to balance working full time, having 3 kids and doing distance learning and all that. So pretty much all hobbies are out of the window, but really wouldn't have it any other way. I'm grateful that everyone's happy, healthy, I'm working, and that I get to actually spend more time, with the kids working from home. So that's really me in a nutshell. Next slide. All right, so before I talk more about the goals for this session today, I wanted to talk a little bit more about networking. So when you think about networking, it's essentially selling and branding yourself, right? But you don't want to go into it thinking that. About networking as selling, right? That might be accompanied by a fear that your pitch will get rejected, hence people shy away from it. Networking is about being genuinely interested in the other person, right? It is this interest that leads to comfort, and that comfort leads to opportunities to grow your network and brand. Networking is also sharing of information and resources. It's not just for extroverts. It's not just in person, right? Especially in today's climate where everyone's doing everything virtually. It also takes time and requires follow-up. It's polite, friendly, and professional, right? It's not a gossip session. It's going to be hard to gain trust and build that professional relationship if all you're doing is about others. I know that getting started can be tough, especially while you're still a student or a recent grad. So that's why we're here today, is to share best practices with you. One thing to consider is, if any of you here today have participated in athletics, if you're involved in student organizations or clubs or jobs on campus, you actually have an advantage. You got a taste of networking with your peers, who then help you to start making connections in the organizations you belong to, as well as many others. So really the goal for today is to help you gain confidence in your ability to talk to new people in any situation and learn what a great professional pitch sounds like and build your own. So as we try to find new ways of finding connections in the virtual world, we're going to randomly assign all of you to breakout rooms with guess 3 people in each breakout. You're going to receive a breakout invitation on your screen, so please accept it, right? And you'll want to take turns introducing yourselves using the following prompts on the screen. So first, you'll want to share your name, school year, and major, what you miss most during this pandemic, and why did you decide to come to this conference? So we'll spend maybe about 7 minutes in the icebreaker.
Thanks, Stacy. So
No problem.
I've just opened all rooms. Please let me know if you have any difficulty joining or selecting or seeing that invite. Hello and welcome back, everybody. Hopefully the breakout rooms, that feature worked all right for everyone. Oh, Stacy, I think you're muted.
It worked out great. Thanks, Dylan.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
All right. So if you could transition to the next slide, that would be great. All right. Welcome back, everyone. So now I want to talk a little bit or take a little bit of a deeper dive into professional talk versus professional pitch. So some of you might be thinking that small talk isn't an important skill to have, but to be honest, it actually is. And it's critical to your success in the professional world. You're going to find yourself in situations where you're going to have to make conversations with people that you don't really know. And that could be a coworker, vice president, manager, or client, right? And those conversations typically occur in informal settings. As you have those conversations, it's important to be able to make a connection so that you can move towards building a substantial relationship. There are people out there that have no problems with small talk, and it's something that just comes naturally to them. On the other hand, there are others that get really anxious because they're thinking too much about how to make a good impression. So for those of you who need some guidance on how to be effective when it comes to professional small talk, we'll go through some best practices in just a bit. When you think about professional pitch, right, that would apply to more formal settings like virtual career fairs, professional conferences, or networking events. If you're able to introduce yourself to someone in a compelling way and share your value proposition with a professional pitch, it can set you up for a successful conversation and open the door to career opportunities. So we have some bullet points on the professional pitch there. Oh, there you go. Let's move on to the next slide. Did I lose you?
Hey, are you there? Is this the right slide? Is this all good?
It's not showing up on my screen.
Ooh.
Oh,
Is that working?
there you go. Perfect. There it is.
Okay, sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. All right. So now let's talk about how you can be effective and have the conversation flow smoothly when it comes to professional small talk. Obviously, the first thing you want to do is introduce yourself, but don't just leave it at that, right? You want to share something about yourself along with what brought you to the event. Second, is you want to ask an open-ended question to allow for a more in-depth conversation, but you want to make sure it's the right question. Right? What I mean by that is you don't want to make the person work too hard to engage or be able to get away with a simple yes or no answer that'll just end the conversation abruptly. And three, if you feel like the conversation has turned into a Q&A session, you can direct the conversation to current events and talk about something worldly, but make sure you avoid politics, religion, and other controversial topics. All right, so I wanted to share an example with you guys. And let's say this setting here is at a conference during a break before another breakout session. So student says, "Hi, I saw you at the keynote session earlier. My name is Evan and I'm a student in business analytics at San Jose State University." Professional then says, "Hi, Evan, very nice to meet you. I'm Jasmine and I'm a project manager at Google. What are your thoughts on the keynote?" To which then the student replies, "I really enjoyed the keynote speaker, especially the part about social inequality and mobility. It reminded me of a recent movie called Parasite. Have you heard about it?" So with this example, one thing you all want to keep in mind here is that, the whole point of small talk in a business context is to smooth the way for deeper and more meaningful conversations at a later time. Small talk may be the first rung on the ladder, but it's an absolutely essential first step. In this example, if the professional doesn't seem interested in learning more about the movie Parasite, think about a topic in which both of you will have plenty to say, right? Ask another open-ended question such as, what do you enjoy about what you do? Or how are you connected to this organization? Or what are you hoping to learn about here today, right? And the conversation should flow smoothly from there. The other thing to keep in mind is that before you end the conversation, ask them for something like a business card or connecting on LinkedIn so that you can follow up. And one thing to remember is to stick to inoffensive and safe topics, listen to the other person's responses and remember their name and end the conversations politely. Next slide. Okay. So now I want to shift gears and talk more about professional pitch. So what is a professional pitch, right? And how can it help you in your career? A professional pitch, also known as an elevator pitch, right, is a quick synopsis of your background and experience. The reason it's called an elevator pitch is that it should be short enough to present during a brief elevator ride. The pitch is all about you, right? So who you are, what you do, what you want to do, right, if you're job hunting. And it's a way to share your expertise and credentials quickly and effectively with people who don't know you. If you do it right, the short speech helps you introduce yourself to career and business connections in a compelling way. It can help you build your network, land a job, or connect with new colleagues on, your first day at work. So let's look at when and how to do a professional pitch, right? One, if you're job searching, you can use your pitch at career fairs and online in your LinkedIn summary or Twitter bio, if you're active on social media. It's really a great way to gain confidence in introducing yourself to hiring managers and company representatives. You can also use the professional pitch to introduce yourself at networking events and mixers. If you're attending a professional association programs and activities or any other type of gathering, have your pitch ready to share with those that you meet. Your professional pitch can also be used during job interviews, especially when you're asked about yourself. Interviewers usually begin by saying, "Tell me about yourself." right? And you can use your professional pitch as a super condensed version of your response to that request. Some key points that you want to include when putting together your professional pitch are your major, your interests, your desired position, your experience and or projects that you're involved in, and how does your background and future goals fit with the organization's needs. So let's look at an example of a professional pitch on the next slide. And the setting here, let's say, would be at a career fair. So student approaches me at my booth and says, "Hi, my name is June. I'm a student in business marketing." Recruiter says, "Hi, June, nice to meet you. I'm Alexis. So tell me a bit more about yourself." Student then says, "I'm excited about digital branding and helping a company's vision come to life. I saw on San Jose State University Handshake that you're currently recruiting for a social media marketing role. I just completed a proposal on increasing Nike's Instagram and Facebook views for a class project and would love to bring some of the skills and knowledge gained from this experience to your company. Can you tell me more about the role that you have?" So in this example, right, the student is touching on all the key points discussed on the previous slide and actually covers the 4 things that I look for as a talent acquisition professional when I'm at career fairs. Those 4 things I look for is 1, the introduction. So they're telling me who they are. 2, they're telling me what they've done, specifically what contributions have they made in their previous experience. 3, they're telling me what they have to offer. And what I mean by that is what skills and strengths make them unique. And 4, they're telling me what makes them an excellent candidate for the position they're interested in. So it's important to do your research and tailor your pitch to the organization you're speaking with. Over the years, I've tabled at multiple career fairs, and I would say that, I have a couple pet peeves. When students approach my booth and say, "What does your company do?" Right? To me, it's expected that you do a little bit of research about the company before attending the fair. You can find out about which companies are coming through Handshake, right, and research their websites. While you may not be able to research every company attending in advance, if you see an organization that you're interested in talking to, right, take a moment to do a quick search on your phone to learn a little bit more about that company, before approaching their table, or in today's world, before scheduling a one-on-one virtual session at a career fair. The other questions that you should refrain from asking a recruiter is, "Do you have openings for me?" Right? Although not every organization posts their positions in advance, right? There's a different way to ask this question if you're not sure if the organization has positions available for you. Frame your ask with some context to demonstrate that you did some basic research ahead of time, right? You can say, "I looked on your website and in Handshake and didn't see any positions posted, or positions posted for someone with my background," right? Then you'll want to give a brief description of yourself, talk about what you've done, what you have to offer, and then ask, "Are there opportunities in your organization for someone with my skill set?" Okay. Next slide. So what I'd like to do now is practice. So I'd like to get back into our breakout sessions so that each of you can create a draft of your professional pitch, or you can do professional small talk, right? And we'll want to take turns with each other, sharing our pitch in the breakouts. Couple things to keep in mind is to mention the key qualifications that you can share in 30 seconds or less. Allow room for dialogue, make it a conversation, not a speech. And then in the end, ask for a business card, connecting on LinkedIn, or permission to send your resume. So maybe we can spend about 10 minutes doing that.
Sounds good. I will assign all of those now. Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Looks like we have mostly everybody back. Hopefully that was a good conversation. Obviously, you won't be able to fully develop your full professional pitch in that amount of time, but hopefully that served as a great session where you can, begin practicing those things, hear what other folks are saying, and then, yeah, take it from there. So I'll pass it off back to Stacy.
I have to unmute myself. Thank you, Dylan. All right, let's go on to the next slide. All right, so some things to keep in mind when it comes to, your professional pitch, right? The other thing that you want to do is, make notes about the contact you made, while it's still fresh in your mind. You also want to follow up with a thank you note via email or LinkedIn to acknowledge the individual's time, right? If someone made a specific suggestion, show that you'd follow up on their advice, right? You also want to set up a system to keep track of follow-up activities and maintain contact to grow the relationship, right? Networking is a process and it takes time and it's relationship building. Something might not manifest right away, so you need to be patient and follow up and don't give up on it. For those of you that might still feel nervous about it, the only way to overcome this is through practice, preparation, and repetition. So if there are any athletes here in the session, right? How confident would you be going into a game if you didn't practice and train for it, right? Just like anything else, when you train and work hard at something, you gain confidence. And that is all I have on networking. I want to thank you guys for taking time out of your day to meet with me for this session. I would love to connect with any of you on LinkedIn. So please feel free to put your phone up to the QR code that you can easily connect with me. And if you have any questions about, professional small talk, professional pitch, or networking in general, please shoot me a note and I'd be more than happy to assist. And thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stacy. If we could all give I'm dropping everything. If we could give Stacy a virtual round of applause for that session. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
We do have just a little bit of information for you all coming from student involvement and the Career Center. If we can just share that with you, that definitely helps in terms of everything related to networking. So first, I would just like to share about our Leadership and Career Certificate program. That's a great semester-long program that happens every spring semester. It's all online. It's self-paced, so you can kind of do it in your own free time in between your busy schedule. And then everybody who completes all the requirements by the end of the semester is invited to our leadership gala. So we would definitely love to see you in that program. Registration is officially opening today, so feel free to use that bit.ly we have down on the bottom of the slide. And yeah, I will pass it over to Edlin to speak about some other Career Center resources for you all.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much, Dylan. So I'm not sure if a lot of you students are aware of our main job board for SJSU. It is called SJSU Handshake, where students can go ahead and apply to jobs and internships, as well as on-campus jobs, and join events to gain strategies for building your career, attend job fairs and information sessions to network with employers, and then also just to go ahead and stay updated with any opportunities that arise during the month. And we also have newsletters that we send out bi-weekly through the SJSU Career Center. So go ahead and get signed up, and that's the link there at the bottom. Dylan, if you want to go ahead and move over to the next slide, we can go ahead and talk about a mentoring platform that we have through SJSU. It's called SJSU Squared Quick Connections. And what Quick Connections actually allow you to do is they allow you to go ahead and meet with alumni or professionals within your field and network to find out, maybe do some informational interviews, as well as find out what types of opportunities that they have at their company, but it's just a great networking platform for students to get connected with alumni and other professionals within their field. Dylan, if you want to go ahead and go over to the next slide. Perfect. So our Career Center roadmap is, so basically first things first, how do you navigate a university's resources and the world of work? So by following this roadmap, it gives you 4 key preparation milestones in order. So we have explore your options, identify your skills, build experience, and launch your career. So each of these milestones are outlined so to have essential resources or events that you should participate in each year. And they're basically there to help you build your experience and launch your career. Okay, Dylan, you can go ahead and move over to the next slide. And as always, make sure to follow us, I think, on our socials. Yeah, so we are connected on SJSU. We do have Instagram, LinkedIn, as well as YouTube. So if you go ahead and follow us on our socials, that's another great way to stay connected with some of our events that we have going on throughout the year. And I'll pass it over back to Dylan.
All righty. I think everybody can hear me, hopefully, and see me. I don't know where I went on my screen. So thank you, Edlin. And thank you again so much, Stacy, for that fantastic session. And thank you all for your engagement and participation in the breakout rooms and everything throughout the session. I've included some links in the chat, so feel free to click on those. Our next session in the conference starts in about 20 minutes. You've got 3 different options. We have a student leader panel. We have a session about unconscious bias, and we have a session about negotiating salaries and everything. So lots of great options for you all. Again, if you haven't filled out the check-in form, please go ahead and do that for this session. And otherwise, we hope to see you at one of our future sessions. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Bye, everyone.